My boss has given us this payroll file to interrogate as he feels the salaries of the sales department are too high and sales are just too low, and he wants to make some serious changes in that department. Here we can see we have all the payroll data within our company. First, he wants to know how much does Celine Dion, our head of sales, earns. For this, we're going to use a basic XLOOKUP. To use XLOOKUP, you could either use the FX insert function. So in the search for a function bar, you could type in XL, select go, and XLOOKUP pops up here. Or you could use the shortcut, which is equals XL, and press the tab key and XLOOKUP pops up. So there are quite a few arguments in this function, but please don't be intimidated by it because XLOOKUP is still way easier than VLOOKUP. For the basic function, we're only going to use the first 3 arguments. These 3 arguments forms the basis of our XLOOKUP. If you can get this right, XLOOKUP is pretty easy. So how I like to remember my XLOOKUP is simply what I have. So select that, which is Celine Dion. Basically, that's what we're looking up. Insert comma, where to find what I have. So that would be here in the name column, comma, and what I want returned, which is Celine Dion's salary. Then close parentheses, select enter, and there we have it. We have Celine's salary of $95,424. And if we look over here, this is exactly Celine's salary. Next, my boss wants to know what the start date of the sales account manager is. Here we will see that XLOOKUP can look up values to the left of what we're searching for. What do I mean by that? My return array, in this instance it's the start date, is to the left of our title column. That's the column in which we will look up the sales account manager. And XLOOKUP will still work. However, VLOOKUP can only look up to the right. Let's find the sales account manager's start date. So let's type in equals, XL tab, select what we have, which in this case is the title of sales account manager, insert comma, select where to find what we have, insert comma, and select what we want returned. Then insert closed parentheses, and XLOOKUP has found the start date for us. Next, we want to find out which employee is earning close to the $108,000 threshold that the company has put in place. Now we're going to see how match mode works with XLOOKUP. Match mode will be useful to use when an exact match cannot be found. So you want to return either the next smallest value to what you're looking at, so then you would use the -1, or the next larger value, then you would use 1. We wouldn't need to use the 0 for exact match, as most of the time XLOOKUP defaults to returning an exact match. So to find which employee is earning close to the threshold, type in equals XL tab, select what we have, select where to find what we have, then select what we want returned. Then insert 2 commas, and our match mode dialog box pops up. We're going to select -1 as we want to match the next smallest value to the $108,000 threshold. Insert closed parentheses, and XLOOKUP correctly found Betty Davis to be earning closest to the threshold. Next, my boss wants to know the date of our last hire in the sales department. For this, we're going to use search mode. Search mode allows you to specify the search order. This is something VLOOKUP and index match cannot do without sorting the data first. So it depends if you want your first item to be returned, then you would use a 1 as it will search from first to last. Or if you want the opposite, which would be the last item to be returned, then you would use a -1 to search from last to first. The binary search options are the same as search first to last or last to first, but it requires your data to be sorted in either ascending or descending order. So to find the last date that we hired someone in the sales department, as I'm sure you're familiar with the formula by now, equals XL tab, select what we have, select where to find what we have, and select what we want returned. Then to get the options for search mode, you're going to add 2 extra commas for the if not found and match mode arguments, as Excel interprets the commas as zeros for those arguments. And because we want the last date we hired someone in the sales department, we're going to select -1. Then insert close parentheses and hit enter. And Excel correctly returned 1 March 21 as the start date for the last sales hire. And if we look at our dates in the payroll table, we have 3 start dates relating to the sales department. And of those, March 21 is the last date. Now that we have the date of our last sales hire, we can provide my boss with all the payroll information of that person, as this was one of his requests. And of course, we're going to use XLOOKUP to get this information for us. Here we will see how XLOOKUP can return multiple values and not just a single value, whereas VLOOKUP is designed to return only a single value. We're going to type equals Excel tab, select what we have, insert a comma to separate our different arguments in the formula, select where to find what we have, and select what we want returned. Here we're selecting the entire table as we want all the payroll information of this employee. Close parentheses, hit enter, and XLOOKUP has returned all the columns for the employee, Miranda Thomas, who was the last sales hire. So far we've done pretty well with providing the answers to my boss's interrogation of the sales department's salaries. Of the 6 arguments in XLOOKUP, we've used the first 3, which are the defaults for a basic XLOOKUP. So that would be our lookup value, which we remember as what we have, our lookup array, which we remember as where to find what we have, and the return array, which we remember as what we want returned. We've learned how to use match mode and search mode. Now we're going to learn how to use the if not found argument to find out if any employee is earning the threshold salary of $108,000. Once again, it's equals Excel tab, select what we have, select where to find what we have, and select what we want returned. Select enter, and XLOOKUP returns NA. Usually with VLOOKUP, if a value is not found and NA is returned, we can use IFERROR. But with XLOOKUP, there is no need for the IFERROR. Let's get back into our XLOOKUP formula. And after our third argument, insert a comma. Then insert open inverted commas and type what you want returned if a value is not found. So I'll type no employee found. Then insert close inverted commas, hit enter, and XLOOKUP returns no employee found. So we can let my boss know that no one is earning the threshold salary. Super easy, right? I think this is the definition of life-changing. Let me know if you agree in the comments. If we wanted to score some brownie points with the boss, we could add a little bonus for him. So now when he types a salary figure that he wants to interrogate, like let's say $105,000, this cell returns the name of the person who is earning close to that value. Or if he wants to know, let's say, the department of that person earning close to that salary, he just needs to type department and the name of the department is returned in this cell. So how do we do this? By using a nested XLOOKUP. So we have an outer and inner XLOOKUP. First, let's set up our inner XLOOKUP. We will start with our basics, so type equals Excel tab, select what we have, select where to find what we have, and select what we want returned. Then insert 2 commas to get us to match mode. And we're going to select 1 for finding either the exact salary match or next largest salary in our range. Close parentheses and hit enter. You can see that XLOOKUP returns all the records for our lookup value of $105,000. So we're going to select this XLOOKUP formula, use Ctrl X to cut, as this formula is going to be our what we want returned in our outer XLOOKUP. For our outer XLOOKUP, type equals Excel tab, select what we want, select where to find what we want. Notice we don't include the salary column as it's included in our inner XLOOKUP. Then insert a comma, use Ctrl V to paste the first formula that we cut. This is our what we want returned, close parentheses, hit enter, and XLOOKUP returns the department of the person earning close to the $105,000 value. If we check our payroll table, the $105,000 is earned in the finance department. Let's do another example. Let's change the salary to $55,000 and change department to name, and we get Andy Adams. If we check our payroll table, we can see that Andy Adams is earning close to $55,000. I think the boss is going to have a lot of fun playing around with this. Now we've answered all the boss's questions, I just want to show you very quickly how XLOOKUP replaces HLOOKUP. I've transposed the payroll data and it's now running from left to right, so horizontally. Remember, VLOOKUP cannot look up horizontally, only vertically, hence the V. If we wanted to search, let's say, the department of this employee ID, we would usually use HLOOKUP. No need for this, as once again, XLOOKUP saves the day. Simply type equals Excel tab, select what we have, select where to find what we have, and select what we want returned. And if we check our payroll table, employee 2242 is in the procurement department.